Welcome to this explainer. Let's get right into it, because today we are talking about why that old, forgotten music of yours, those tracks just collecting digital dust right now, might actually be your absolute most valuable financial asset. For years, the music industry has totally trained independent artists to look at yesterday's catalog as, well, just a promotional tool for tomorrow's release. But as we're going to see today, the financial industry has quietly flipped that entire equation completely upside down. So we're going to focus really closely on how you can actually manage these catalog assets and turn your past work into serious long-term wealth.
Now, if you're a working musician, an actual six-figure check being offered for your old tracks, that might look like a unicorn just waltzed into your rehearsal room carrying a briefcase. You might think it's just this magical gift, but here's the reality. That buyer isn't buying you a lovely present. A rational buyer, whether it's a private equity firm or a catalog company, is simply looking at a stream of future income. They are calculating exactly how much your song is going to earn over the next 10 years, and they're offering you a lump sum for it today. Basically, they see a predictable financial engine where you might just see an old, messy hard drive.
And this idea right here is the fundamental shift we really need to talk about. The song isn't finished earning just because release week ended. Just think about that for a second. This brilliant insight shifts us completely away from that exhausting hamster wheel of writing, recording, promoting, and then eventually abandoning your albums to gather dust while you just desperately chase the next big thing. So let's contrast the traditional release cycle mindset against the financial world's view, where songs are literally treated as long-term income-producing assets. Under the release cycle mindset, your album disappears just because a new one came along. But in the digital age, a song can keep earning while another song is released right beside it. I mean, someone might discover a 5-year-old track of yours on a curated playlist today. Once you adopt that asset owner mindset, you stop asking what's next, and you start asking what the music you already own could be doing for you today, tomorrow, and a decade from now. To really wrap our heads around the massive scale of this opportunity, we just have to look at the numbers. Worldwide recorded music revenue reached a staggering $31.7 billion in 2025, and that's driven by 837 million paid subscription users around the globe. And the lesson here isn't just that old songs get Spotify streams forever. The much bigger lesson is that digital distribution completely removed the physical limits that used to shorten the commercial life of a record. There's no more limited shelf space holding back your catalog. That $31 billion means there is long-tail revenue out there with your name on it, if you know how to manage it.
Okay, moving into this next section, deconstructing the song. Let's break down what a song actually is in a business context.
Independent artists often use the word song to describe a bunch of different things, and honestly, that gets dangerous when money is on the line. This breakdown brilliantly illustrates the two totally separate copyrights hidden inside your single track. You have the musical composition, the underlying songwriting, and the sound recording itself, which is often called the master. Think of Dolly Parton writing I Will Always Love You versus Whitney Houston recording it. Those are two different copyrights. Why does this matter for managing your catalog? Well, because if a filmmaker wants to use your track, they generally need permission for both. That means a sync license for the composition and a master use license for the recording. You need crystal clear control over both to confidently say yes to a lucrative film placement. In this business, control has real economic value. So you really have to stop thinking of your music as just a single streaming vending machine. Instead, imagine your catalog as a big building with all of these highly profitable, rentable rooms. You've got digital performance royalties collected by Sound Exchange for internet radio. You've got digital mechanicals through the Mechanical Licensing Collective, sync deals for Netflix shows, physical products, sample licenses, the whole shebang. Your job as a business owner is figuring out which of these rooms actually exist in your building, who holds the keys, and whether anyone has completely forgotten to collect the rent. Having an asset owner mindset means recognizing that one recording can actually become multiple products. By professionally preparing alternate assets, things like instrumentals, clean versions, short edits, and stems, you completely remove the friction from a potential sale. Picture a music supervisor on a super tight Friday afternoon deadline, and they're choosing between two tracks. The artist who has all these files cleanly organized and ready to go, they're going to win every single time over the artist who says, I think my old bass player's cousin has the instrumental on a hard drive somewhere. Let's move on to the next section, the metadata plumbing. This is the least glamorous, yet arguably most crucial part of the music business. You probably didn't get into music because you love organizing spreadsheets, but unfortunately, information is a massive part of your catalog's commercial value. Here's the deal with ISRCs. In International Standard Recording Code,
uniquely connects your data across global systems. But, and this is absolutely key, remember that it's an identifier. It's not a deed of ownership. It's basically like a barcode on a box of cereal. Just having the barcode doesn't prove you own the grocery store, right? You still need a single authoritative rights ledger for every song that connects the master, the composition, the ownership shares, and the entire licensing history. It literally boils down to this. Do you have a usable commercial asset, or are you sending buyers on a scavenger hunt? If nobody actually knows who owns 17% of a track, and your producer agreement is currently trapped in an AOL email account from 2007, your song isn't a commercial asset. It has turned into a scavenger hunt that buyers, music supervisors, and advertisers are just going to ignore, no matter how creatively wonderful the song is. In the business of sync licensing and catalog sales, confusion kills the deal. If it's a scavenger hunt, the buyer will simply walk away.
All right, so how do new technologies factor into all this? Let's check out this section, AI and future-proofing. How do these tools act as both a threat and a tool for managing your catalog? Well, on the threat side, the legal picture around AI is definitely still unsettled. The U.S. Copyright Office is actively studying generative AI and training right now. And what this means for you is that you must pay extremely close attention to boilerplate contract language about rights for technologies now known or later developed. Seriously, do not treat that as just decorative text near the signature line. Future AI models could literally be trained on your unique vocal style, and that future use might become part of the economic value a buyer is trying to scoop up from you. That absolutely deserves a serious conversation or at least a price tag.
But on the flip side, AI can also act as your brilliant assistant. It can help you search huge catalogs efficiently, identify missing metadata, automatically generate descriptive mood tags for sync searches, and organize messy files. When used correctly, AI is a tool that actually makes catalog administration cheaper and way faster, allowing indie artists to compete with the huge corporations. But just remember, always leave the actual legal decisions to a human. AI should never invent a songwriting split just because a spreadsheet cell is blank. And similarly, Web3 isn't just a buzzword, and it is certainly not just an NFT casino. Its real power lies in creating tamper-evident portable records of your permissions and rights. Meaning, once it's logged, no one can secretly go in and alter your songwriting splits. The goal here isn't to somehow replace copyright law with blockchain. The goal is to make absolutely sure your business history is never lost, and that it's super easy to verify who controls what without being trapped inside just one platform.
Eventually, if you manage your catalog assets well, a massive rights buyer might come knocking with an offer, bringing us to this crucial section: to sell or operate.
Before you ever accept a lump sum, take a look at the steps to operating your catalog yourself. First, organize the metadata and rights records to discover what the catalog actually is and find those missing royalties. Next, prepare those alternate assets we talked about, like instrumentals and stems. Then launch direct-to-fan products, maybe an anniversary package for an album everyone thought died in 2021. By operating the business around the song first, you document growth, you attract multiple bidders, and you dramatically increase your negotiating power. And keep in mind, under U.S. copyright law, selling isn't just some giant on or off switch. You can actually divide up your interests. It can be a partial partnership. For example, you might exchange 50% of your rights for a lump sum while retaining royalties on the rest. Or you could carve out specific territories, like keeping 100% of your rights in Japan because you tour there heavily. The point is, liquidity and the complete surrender of your ownership do not have to be the exact same transaction. Furthermore, this part is super fascinating. Under Section 203 of U.S. law, some of those copyright grants can actually be terminated and returned to the author after 35 years. Now, obviously, this is highly technical and time-sensitive, which makes it absolutely crucial to consult a music attorney. It's not some magic reset button if you make a bad deal on a Tuesday, but it does prove that signing away your rights isn't necessarily irreversible forever. It just emphasizes how incredibly seriously you need to treat these long-term agreements. So ultimately, your catalog becomes a true powerhouse when you can confidently answer these 4 basic questions immediately, without having to track down 6 different people. What do I own? What can I license? Where is it earning? And who wants it? The music industry has spent decades making these questions surprisingly difficult to answer, but organizing this information is the absolute foundation of managing catalog assets like a true professional. Which leaves us with one final, incredibly crucial thought. If Wall Street investors and private equity firms believe your old music is a gold mine that will produce money for decades, shouldn't you find out what it's truly worth first?
Tomorrow's massive business opportunity is very likely already sitting right there on your hard drive. Maybe it's time to claim it.